Hello everyone, I am going to teach you today how to make a German paper star, also called a Froebel star, out of just plain strips of paper. And it makes a wonderful holiday decoration for your tree or for a package, or you can even put them together to make a wreath. So what I'm using today is just regular copy paper, thin copy paper, that is 1/2 inch by 18 inches. For each star, you will need 4 strips that size. Now you can also use firm ribbon, and there are also many beautiful, beautiful papers you can buy just specially for these stars. And to start with, you'll want to fold all of your papers in half, lengthwise, to prepare them. And then what I like to do is I like to snip off the ends into sort of a pointy shape at this stage. And that makes it easier for when we're doing some tucking later on, some kind of interweaving and tucking. So I just take them all, and I'm going to use the open edges, and I'm just going to cut a little bit off on each side, just like that. We're going to end up taking off about 2 inches, so you've got lots of room there. Now to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to use a basket weaving technique for our bottom. And maybe those of you who have been to summer camp and used to do some boondoggle, this will seem familiar. So I'm going to start with my first one, folded in half, the open edges facing toward my right. And I'm going to take a second one and I'm going to let the ends go right through. So it's kind of going right through the middle. Then this one I'm going to take, and I'm going to let those ends go there. So each one is going into one of the 4 directions. And this one will go around these 2, and then it will go through the loop of the very one we started with. And that way, when we pull all of our ends together, they're all interwoven at the base. And we can kind of pinch them up nice and tight. And you can see it's kind of the way you might start a simple basket bottom if you were making the tiniest little basket, or the way you start boondoggle. And then what we're going to do, we need to have 8 strips around to make our 8-pointed star. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the very top one and fold it to the bottom. And then we're going to take the one on the left, fold it over to the right. This second one on the bottom, and we're going to fold it up. And then this last one, we're going to fold over the first strip, and then there's a little pocket here to tuck it in. So we're going to go over that first square, and then we're going to pull it through. And that way we have a completely woven together strong bottom, or kind of a base for our star. And you can use it any way right now. So what we're going to do now, you can see it's all interwoven nice and snug. We're going to do, I'm going to teach you the moves, and you're going to end up doing these moves 8 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the bottom right hand strip over here. And I am going to flip it backwards to make a little point. So I'm flipping it backwards, pointing it downward. And you can see that makes a little point of our star. That's what creates this point right here. And then what we want to do is take that strip we were weaving with, we're going to fold it over to the left, and it makes like a little arrow shape, kind of like a little arrowhead shape. And what we want to do now is we want to fold it up on itself so it becomes a nice, firm little point for our star. And then to keep it in its place, what we want to do, I like to move it over and fold it right there. We're going to tuck this end right in this little loop right here. So that's why we wanted to have all those nice pointy ends for our strips, because we want to poke them through. Now, every once in a while, a strip is not cut even, and it might get a little too thick up here. And if that happens and you can't fit it through, sometimes I just like give it a little trim to make sure it will fit through. So I'm going to look for that loop, and I'm going to tuck it through and pull it. And that's what gives us these points. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to rotate it. I'm always going to be working with this bottom right-hand point. So again, I'm folding backwards, then up to make the little arrowhead point. Then I'm folding that in on itself. Hopefully my fingers aren't too much in the way. And then I'm going to tuck it in. So I like to fold it back, get a little crispy fold right there, and then I like to take my end, if I can grab it, and I'm going to poke it right through. So there's a little pocket right there, and it goes right through. And I like to grab the point and pull it right through. So then I'm going to rotate it again and do that same move here with this point. So I'm folding it backwards to make that point. Then I'm folding it to the left to make it look like a little arrowhead. Then I'm going to double it up to make it a nice strong point. Then I like to fold so that I can access that little pocket right there. Oh, if I can find it. There it is. And it goes right through. And I'm going to pull it. So now I have 3 points. Now my last point, it's a little bit different because I have this strip that's kind of right in the way from tucking that first one. So can you see, usually it's not there. So I'm just going to fold that up for now, get it out of the way. That gives me access to my lower right-hand point right here, which I'm going to fold down. And now you can see I don't have that long strip here because I've already done that point. And then I'm going to fold it over. So we really do just the same move 4 times on this side, and then we're going to flip it, do the same move 4 times on the other side. So again, I'm going to fold it here, look for my little pocket. It would help if I had my glasses on. There's my little pocket. This is why sometimes a firmer paper works well. This one's a little wimpy. So I've done that, and now I'm just going to move this back out of the way. So you can see, again, we have these strips going in all 4 directions. They're a little shorter now because we folded them to make the points. Now we're going to turn our star over, and we are going to do that same move on this side. And now we do have those other strands in the way. They're going to stick out of the back side from making those other points. So we just don't want to fold those. We only want to fold this one. So we're going to fold it back again. And you can see that's going to give us this beautiful 8-point star. And now I'm going to fold it over to make our little arrowhead shape. And then upward to make it strong. Then I'm going to fold it to the left just to crisp it because I'm going to look for that little pocket. I'm sliding it through, holding my point, and then I'm going to turn it, again clockwise. So I'm just using the top one, that one's from the other point, turning it backwards, making the little arrowhead point. So it's very repetitive, which is nice because once you really know how to do them, you can do lots of other things while you're folding. So then I'm going to look for the pocket and tuck it in. Ooh, and this one's a little fat. I might have to give it a little trim. We'll see if I can squeeze it through. Squeezing. It's a little fatter than the other ones. Pulling it through. Then I'm going to turn it again. And I'm looking for this point. Folding it over to make my little arrowhead. Folding it up to make my little double point. Folding it back over and then looking for that little pocket to stick my point through. And I like to hold on to the star point while I pull it through. Sometimes if you pull it too strongly, you'll like pull some of that point through. See how you could pull it through? Now I'm on my last one, so I'm going to turn it here. I've got a little lump going on. Let me get it straightened around. So again, on this last one, this strip from before is in my way, so I just have to lift it up so I can access my tucking area. And I only want to take this top strand. Oh my goodness. Nobody sneezes during their YouTube videos except me. That's why I'll never have over 20 subscribers. Folding it that way, and then up, and then over. And I'm looking for my little pocket. There it is. And so now all 8 of my points are completed. So at this point, you have this little, kind of a little flat star. Let me get it straight, and I'm going to fold that back, and then you can see that I have 8 points all around. I don't really know why some of them end up a little longer, even though we made up the same points. That's kind of a mystery. So it's the same on both sides. And now what we want to do, we've got these little points, but we want to make the beautiful points that stick out and become very dimensional. And to do that, this part's a little trickier, and you might do it wrong the first few times, but don't worry, you're going to get it. So what we have to do, we do want to lift one of these up and out of the way. So I always work with this bottom right-hand quadrant. It just makes it easier for me. So I'm going to lift this one up and out of the way, because now we are going to tuck something right under this little area here. So that's why we have to lift that up. And what we're going to tuck is this here. Now these strands are going to curve around and tuck under there. But what I have found, a common problem is people make them go upside down. So what I like to do is I like to imagine that it's a little snake. I wish he had a little tongue. And the snake has to go under his rock, but he cannot turn upside down. So he's going, going, going. See, he's not ever flipping upside down. And now he's going to go under that direction, under that rock. And wouldn't you know it, this is my little fat guy. I'm going to trim my little snake. Gosh. So he's still going under. And he's going to go right under there. And he's going to come right through the point. Let me get this out of the way so you can see. So there you can see he's coming through the point. So I'm going to pull him all the way. And when I do, let me get this out of the way so you can see. I sometimes like to give that a little crispy fold right there. And then when he goes through, he's going to make that beautiful point right there. So then I've done that little one and I'm ready to turn it. So again, this is my next little one. I know it seems dorky to make a little snake face, but it will help you if you go upside down. So he cannot go upside down. He's got to stay right side up. That's going to make him have the right shape when he goes through. Now sometimes he'll get stuck inside that little point. That's why we fold outwards so there's not that other little pocket. But if that happens, just kind of fiddle with it. And we're going to pull that through nice and snug so it makes a nice, beautiful point. So we've got 2 done. Now I'm going to turn it. I'm going to move that one back out of the way. That's the one that would have been flat, but we lifted it out of the way to make that shape. So this one's ready. If it were a little snake, his eyes would be here. And he's going to go around, 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 and go under the little rock. Ooh, he's a little fat guy too. Let me just trim him. So this sometimes happens, especially if you've made your own paper and trimmed it. On a paper cutter, sometimes it just varies slightly. So, but if you buy strips, it'll be perfect, but you don't have to. And we're going to pull it right through. It's a little bit wider, so it's making a little scrunching noise. There, but I got him. So there's 3 done. And so this little guy, don't let him trick you. He's kind of up in the air because of that, but his little snake eyes would still be there. And we don't want him to go upside down. I'm going to turn my paper, and then I'm going to turn my little snaky point. And he's going to go right under this one here. And I'm just pushing him through. And it's coming right through the point. And this is where I like to kind of give it a little crease. And we've got a beautiful, beautiful points on that side. So then we are ready to flip it over. And we're going to do all those same moves again. It's a little harder on this side because then you've got these points and it can't necessarily sit flat, so you might have to hold it with your hand. So again, I'm working on this bottom right-hand quadrant. I'm going to lift this one up and out of the way so that we have that access area right there. We're going that direction with our paper strip. So not letting it flip upside down as if it's a little snake again. I'm going to come around and go right through and pull that point. And then I'm going to give it a turn, and I'm going to go with this one next. Sometimes I give it a little fold right there to make it kind of crisp. I don't want it to go upside down. Going right through. This one feels a little fat. Oh, I see him though. He's coming through. Sometimes it's good to have a little pair of tweezers you can use to pull too. Okay, I'm going to have to trim that one. You can see it got a little kinked. So I'm just going to trim it. Trim a little bit of the extra fatness off so I can get it through and pull it. Now that my paper creased, it doesn't want to go through so easily. And I'm going to just pull it nice and snug. There we go. And I'm going to turn it again. I'm going to get that one out of the way. It's supposed to lay that way. So I'm going around. Oh, this one's a fat one too. Just going to trim it. And it's coming through. There we go. And our last one, even though it's sitting over that bump, we still have to keep it this direction. And I'm going to flip it around and through. And then we have our beautiful star. So at this point, what you can do, we've got the points on all the sides. We're just going to trim it off right there to be even. I've also seen people sometimes leave some of the strands and make like a little gift tag from it. Let me cut off these snake faces. So say I had a dear friend, I would say, to my pal. You know, you could leave it like that and put it on a package. That could be pretty. But they make lovely, lovely ornaments. And so sometimes what a lot of people do is they will heat up beeswax and then dip them in so they stay nice and firm. And then you can use a little needle with thread to hang them to make an ornament. And that is how you can make your beautiful Pennsylvania Dutch or German star or Froebel star. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Good luck.